Hey everybody, it's Tox from CritHappen.com. So Star Realms is out on PC, and I thought I would take a couple of seconds and play through a game of it and show you what it looks like. I've been a backer of Star Realms since almost day one of its Kickstarter. It's a great deck building game. If you're unfamiliar with it, it is a science fiction based deck building game where you have two resources between trade and combat, but you have a tertiary resource that acts as your life, so to speak, that is authority. And the object of the game is to reduce your opponent down to zero authority by attacking them with combat, and you're going to gain more ways to attack them by using your trade to buy more ships. So this is the PC version, and I've turned off the music just to make it a little bit easier to be able to hear everything. There are some free pieces of stuff that you have when you download the game, and then there are additional digital objects you can download for price, like different difficulty levels, campaign modes, boss levels, things like that. So we're just going to do a versus AI match. I haven't unlocked any of the medium or hard stuff yet. This is literally a fresh install. But you'll see here, and I'll kind of walk through a little bit real quickly here, what you're looking at. So the first player always starts with 3 cards. The second player always starts with 5. The game is designed for 2 players. If you buy a game of Star Realms, if you can find a game of Star Realms in stores today, one deck covers you for 2 players. You basically buy another deck for 4 players, intermix those, and then another deck for 6 players, intermixing all of those. I personally prefer it with 2 players more than anything else. But it is a very fast game. This will go a little slower because I'm going to try and explain everything, but the game is very, very quick. My friends and I can play a full game of Star Realms with cards in about 10 to 15 minutes, which is a really nice selling point around the game. So in the game, you have scouts, which are basically provide you 1 trade whenever you play them, and vipers, which are going to provide you 1 combat whenever you play them. You have a total of 8 scouts and 2 vipers in your deck to begin with, and there is always this card, the Explorer. Now, whenever you right-click a card, it'll bring up a big picture of it like this. One of the big draws, to Star Realms is the artwork. The artwork is absolutely phenomenal. Rob Doherty, the guy behind Star Realms, also had hooks into Ascension. Very smart man, very, very good game designer, and this is just another feather in his cap that you make a good game and then you put a nice veneer on top of it. The artwork's really, really good. Now, what this tells me is this Explorer is unaligned. There's no faction symbol in the upper left. We'll explain that in a second. It costs me 2 trade to be able to buy it. It gives me 2 trade whenever I play it, and once played, I could scrap it, which is this icon, this trash icon here in the lower left, and gain an additional 2 combat. Scrapping means once you've put it in play, you can then scrap it and take it out of your deck and remove it from the game, and you no longer have access to it in your deck, but you get a bonus for it. Then there are 5 cards that are laid out in an open area for you to buy, and there are going to be different factions. There's actually 4 different factions. They're all represented here by what we have out, which is great. So you have the Trade Federation, which is blue. You have the Star Empire, which is yellow. You have the Blob, which is green, and then you have the Machine Cult, which is red. Now, they're all very different in terms of flavor and art, but they all do very different things. The Trade Federation, for example, is very good about getting you trade and getting you authority. The Star Empire is a very good balance between drawing and discarding cards and dealing combat damage. The Blobs are all about combat damage. I mean, they just come in and wreck people. And then the Machine Cult actually does a really good job of very much acting like the Void in Ascension. They allow you to scrap cards from your deck or your hand or your discard pile, and they will give you a lot of bonuses as well. Now you'll notice that aside from the ships, which are all vertical here, these first 4 cards, you'll notice the last card is on its side, and this is a base. It's actually a specific base because it's an outpost, you'll see in the lower right here. There's 2 types of bases. You have a regular base, which will just have a shield and a value in it. You have to generate that much combat to destroy that base. But then you'll also see that this base has the outpost. The outpost will act as a wall between you and your opponent. So if I had the Junkyard, this card, out in play in front of me, before my opponent could attack me with his combat, he would have to deal 5 combat damage to this as an outpost before he could then deal any remainder to me. So let's jump in and let's see what we can get going here. We both start with 50 authority, which is the green shields. I could, if I wanted to, just click each card, or I can click the play all button in the lower right, which is kind of nice. So this is a pretty simple hand. I'm going to gain an explorer. I just click it and drag it and drop it over into my discard pile, and then I double click on the AI's icon to deal 1 damage to him with my combat, and he goes down to 49 authority. I can then end my turn, and it moves on to my opponent. Now, let's say for whatever reason I looked away from the screen and I didn't pay attention to what my opponent was doing. I can go up here to the menu, I can go to the log, and it'll tell me everything that has been happening inside of the game. So you have a nice little log here. So Easy AI's turn had 1 combat, 1, 2, 3, 4 trade, acquired the Blob Destroyer, and then did 1 combat damage to me. So you can go back and see whatever it is that you may have missed. So this turn I'm going to have 5 trade, which is really nice. I could get either the Imperial Frigate or the Survey Ship. Now, the Survey Ship is very much like the Explorer. It has an ability. It costs 3 for me to acquire. It gives me 1 trade, and I get to draw a card when I play it. I could, just like the Explorer, scrap it for an additional ability, and in this case it gives me a target opponent discards a card. But more importantly, this Imperial Frigate has a faction bonus. This one you'll see is 3 to acquire. It has the Star Empire faction, and it will give me 4 combat, and the target opponent must discard a card. However, it has this additional line in between its main ability and its scrap ability. Now, I could scrap it and draw a card, which is really cool. But more importantly, this faction ability gives me an additional 2 combat if I have played or if I do play another Star Empire ship or base, which is really where the combos come in inside of Star Realms. So I like that card. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up, and then with the 2 left over, I'm going to get the Explorer, and we will call that a turn. Like I said, this is going to move a little slower than gameplay normally would, but I wanted to take a second to explain as much as I could. So we'll probably dig in a little harder here, and we'll see how things get moving. So another authority to my head. So we're going to have a lot of money on this turn. So let's go ahead and play all, and I'll show you what we can do here. So this gives me 6 trade, not quite enough to get the Dreadnought, which would have been really nice. But I can also scrap both my Explorers and be able to gain 4 combat, which would be pretty good. Now, I would be losing the ability to play them later in the game with the 2 trade that they give me. But with the 6 trade that I have right now, I can get this Port of Call, which is really good. It's going to give me a 6 value outpost, automatically generate 3 trade for me once every turn, and I could scrap it at any time to draw a card and destroy a target base. Really, really good. So we're going to snag that, and then I'm going to open these up. You left click on the Explorers and you left click on the scrap button, and it will add the combat to your total. So now I have 5 combat. I will deal 5 combat to my opponent's authority and knock him down to 44. So that's actually a really good starting couple of turns for us. We'll see how it works out. 16 authority in 1 turn. That is how quickly things can happen. So we have to discard a card from one of our opponent's cards. So we're going to discard a scout. We're going to go ahead and play the Imperial Frigate and force him to discard something. We'll generate 3 trade and 4 combat. We'll go ahead and stay with this Star Empire theme, gain the Survey Ship, and deal 4 to our opponent. So we're on the defense because he's picked up some pretty heavy things in terms of combat generation. We'll have to see how we can turn this around because there are some pretty big swings and pretty big numbers inside of Star Realms. Being that it is such a fast game, though, it's something that even if you lose, you want to come right back into it again. Patrol Mech is a great card. Now you'll notice that this one says 3 trade or 5 combat. You have to choose when you play it which one you're going to get. In addition, if I have played or I do play another Machine Cult, then I can scrap a card in my hand or discard pile. So that's pretty good. We're going to go ahead and snag that. We do have 1 authority. Now, 1 combat. Let's say for whatever reason I made a mistake and I hit end turn. Well, it tells me I have unspent combat. Do I want to continue and not use it, or do I want to cancel and go back and deal the 1 combat? That's really nice. And as you get outposts out that give you abilities, it will remind you to use them as well, which is really, really good. Aha! So our opponent just put out the recycling station. He's going to gain 1 every turn, or he can discard up to 2 cards and then draw that many cards. It is an outpost, so we're going to have to generate 4 combat to get past it. But we just got our Imperial Frigate, so there's a pretty good chance we're going to be able to do that. So let's go ahead and get out all of our lovely, lovely cards. So 5 and 5 is pretty good. So you'll notice I can't click and attack my opponent. It says must attack the outpost first. So I'll deal 4 to it, 1 to him. With 5, wow, 5. Do I want to get the blob wheel? Yeah, I'll get the blob wheel for 3, and we'll get a Federation shuttle for 1. So the Federation shuttle won't give us a lot of bonuses quite yet, but we have the port of call, which is nice, so we'll see if we can combo that up with each other. Whenever you have the faction bonuses, it counts for if you have a base in play or if you have played another ship as well. So we'll see how it works. All right, so let's take a look at what we can do here. We have a lot of trade. We have the ability right now to generate 8 trade, and I think we're going to do that. So we're going to go ahead and gain 3 from the patrol mech, gain 8. Now this is a tough decision because we have a lot of really good cards here. We're getting really, really low on our authority, so the potential for the command ship could be really good. While the Dreadnought would be really nice and the Fleet HQ would be really nice, having some more things to gain our authority back could be really good. So let's go ahead and gain the command ship. The command ship says to gain 4 authority and 5 damage, 5 combat, and you can destroy or draw 2 cards. In addition, if you have another Trade Federation, which we have a Trade Federation ship and we have a Trade Federation base, then you can destroy a target base. So that could be really helpful for us. So we're going to go ahead and snag that and end our turn. So that may hopefully turn things around here, and we'll have to see what we can do. In the meantime, our opponent is recycling cards, and they're going to do a lot of damage to us. 9 damage. We're down to 9 authority. All right, let's see if we can turn this around. We have to discard a card. Let's discard a scout. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, and not enough. We're not going to really be able to do anything this turn because with the 3 authority, we have to get past our opponent's base, and we have to get to deal damage to the AI. And I can only scrap my blob wheel to get more trade. So I could get 4 trade, but all that's going to let me do is gain 2 explorers. So we're going to end our turn and really do nothing other than get the blob wheel out. This could be really painful because this could be the end of the game right here. Let's see what he generates. Ooh, 6 combat. We're down to 3. This is going to be pretty rough. Let's see what we can do here. I don't know if we're going to be able to survive this. Alright, we have enough to destroy that, and go 1 to him, pick up the battle mech, and then we will end our turn. Now we have to survive, hopefully, and get down the road, but nope, we're not going to survive. That's it! That's Star Realms, and this is what happens when you are talking and when you are playing. You don't play as well as you normally would, but it gives you a really good idea as to what the gameplay is like. It's very smooth, it's very quick. I would highly recommend it. Being that there is a lot of free content, you can download it, check it out, see if you like it. It's something that I'm a really big fan of, and I think that if you take the time to check it out, you will be as well. So that is Star Realms. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. We're recording this right before Gen Con, so if you're going to Gen Con this year, 2014, stop by booth 743 for Arcane Wonders and say hello. We'd love to meet up with you guys and say hi. Otherwise, we will see you at the next video. Definitely feel free to leave your comments below in the YouTube channel. Of course, you can join in the discussion on Facebook and Twitter by searching Crits Happen, or at our homepage at critshappen.com. But until we see you next time, or see you at Gen Con, thanks for watching, keep rolling those dice, and we hope they're all crits.